Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. It's middle of the week. And we're going to have plenty of things to talk about today. We'll get to hear from Bobby Petrino once again in this SEC teleconference. Some of the things he had to say, as well as getting to hear from the players, a few of the players at least, for the first time last night. And since the Sam Pittman firing, but also the Bobby Petrino hiring and how that's been going this week. We'll get into that. We'll have our heavy hitters presented by HD Roofing and Construction. And of course, check out the chat and everything that you guys want to talk about, football, basketball, baseball, all that great stuff. But fellas, it's Wednesday. It's hump day. How are the vibes here today?
My heavy hitter is Eric King for letting me know about Rush Limp. Just kidding. I'm doing good, man. Feeling good. I don't know what that was in the chat just now, but that was some wild behavior. Vibes are good. Happy hump day. Looking forward to getting on the back half of this week because we got a lot of cool stuff going on this weekend.
Yeah, the only thing worse than trying to ban someone and accidentally putting their comment on the screen is doing it twice before the show even gets started. So that was a tough one, but we move on and we have a great show here. I got to be honest, a lot of times leading up to football games, I'm like, the excitement is building. I got to be honest, I feel like my excitement is dwindling a little bit. We're like, we're living in this beautiful world before they've started the Bobby Petrino era where imagination can run wild. I feel like once the game kicks off Saturday, all the fun ends. I'm a little bit worried.
Well, let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope that everything's fun. Positive vibes only. Optimism. This team has turned it around. They're ready to roll. They're going to beat Tennessee for like the 18th straight time as a football program. Keep the vibes high until midway through the first quarter when it all comes crumbling down. So something like that. But yeah. Which is, by the way, we'll talk about this, but for Saturday, speaking of, the game on Saturday starts at 3:15. Such a weird time for the game to be starting against Tennessee. But we're going to be live at Go Lab Red again in Fayetteville at 1214 North Garland Avenue for a little live stream watch party. So come on out and hang out with us. They'll have progressive wings and everything. We'll give you more details on that as it goes along. But great spot, great fun, and can't wait to see everybody out there. Great turnout that we had last Friday. So can't wait to see it again on Saturday. But either way, but yeah, it's like, it's been so long, and I know that you guys feel the same way. Arkansas played Notre Dame. Like the last time we saw this team on the field, Sam Pittman was the coach. There was a home game. There was the 10th largest crowd, and it feels like it's been decades since that's happened, like absolute decades. And that's where I think like my excitement is now transitioning into. It's like, okay, well, the firing of Pittman, there's some adrenaline there. And then, of course, Petrino being the guy. And then the more you get to hear a little bit from Petrino and now from the players, which I know we'll talk about, it's like now transitioning to the game itself and the Tennessee matchup. And I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and we'll get a lot more into it. But, man, I don't know about y'all. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people consistently bring up last year's game as any sort of comparison to this year's game. I'm not saying that there's not some connections or correlations that you can draw if it's the same quarterback or if it's the same whatever, but it's like there is nothing that means less to this upcoming game between Arkansas and Tennessee than these two teams facing off against each other last year. Like I get it, you got to talk about it and look at it that way, but I just don't see any way, shape, or form that last year's game, how it was played, how it was coached, how the offenses went for both teams, how the defense, like none of that is going to be the same in this game. And it's, we'll see how it all plays out. But that's just one of the things I kind of get tired of hearing about all week long going into this Tennessee game is like comparing last year's game. Like it does not matter. It literally could not matter less than what it does now.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's the only thing I care about the past is that Tennessee hasn't beaten Arkansas since the Bush administration. But, as far as the game itself and how that impacts the plan and everything going into this one, I'm with you, man. I feel that feels silly to me. Maybe in the past that meant a little bit more when you had more, continuity year over year and that you didn't have the transfer portal and everything going on. But like the offense outside of Talon, it's almost an entirely new cast of characters. I know you still got Bobby there, but then the Razorback defense, that's kind of what won him the game, right? With that fancy little game plan that they had and shut down Iamaliava and that rushing attack. And, Tennessee's got a new quarterback and entirely new personnel over there. Arkansas has a brand new defensive coaching staff that literally got installed a week ago. So, all the things that went into that game plan last year, all those guys are gone who did that. I know you could look back at it and see what you could extrapolate, but I respected the answer that Bobby gave for that. But yeah, dude, I'm not really looking back at that at all when I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen on Saturday.
Y'all don't think Malachi Singleton's going to come off the bench and score a game-winning touchdown? Is that what I'm hearing from you guys?
I'm leaning no, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And by the way, like I totally like understand at least the premise of why people do that, but I'm with you guys that like if you just look at how that game played out matchup wise, almost none of that applies. And I think the biggest thing is when you look at Tennessee, and it's weird to say this about a Josh Heupel team, last year's Tennessee team was built around their defense and their run game. They had one of the top 10 rushing offenses in the country, one of the top 10 defenses in the country. That was a big formula for why they won. Arkansas kind of set the tone with that opening drive where they went all the way down, I think to like the 2-yard line, wound up kicking a field goal, but they played that kind of keep away style. You know, they always talk about getting ahead and staying ahead. Arkansas was able to kind of set that tone and play keep away from Tennessee, kind of did what they wanted to do to Tennessee. This Tennessee team is very different in how they attack you. The one thing they like to do this year's Tennessee team, throw the ball downfield. And we know Josh Heupel's all, as good as any play caller at doing that. This Arkansas defense also very good at giving up plays downfield. And so that's the one thing Arkansas is going to have to really figure out. And we have to find an answer for of if you're going to talk yourself into Arkansas winning this game Saturday or being competitive, they're going to have an answer for that downfield passing game. But I do think this Arkansas offense, as weird as it sounds, has a better matchup in this game than last year's team did. So again, I'm not even trying to make a case for optimism for Arkansas here. I just think it's going to be a completely different game. I think you could see maybe double the amount of points scored at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I lean too. In fact, last year, the only thing that I still really like, and I watched it again this morning, is when Landon Jackson was on the field and said F of all, like just as if like there was some sort of like really in big rivalry or just something that he hated about Tennessee. He just said that. Like that's about it though. But yeah, it's going to be a different type of thing. And it's going to be something to where I know Josh Heupel is going to be motivated. The Tennessee Volunteers are going to be motivated. That 2 weeks to prepare for this game. It's just a matter of again, the mystery behind it all. But either way, Bobby Petrino, though, in the SEC teleconference today was asked about last season and the defense from last year. And here's what he had to say about that performance.
I mean, you always go back and watch the year before and put it in all your breakdowns, all your cut-ups and everything like that. We did do a nice job of playing defense. The key to always playing Tennessee is to be able to have a way to stop the run and not give up big explosive plays running the football. They do such a good job of spreading you out and throwing it that the run is what's really a major concern. So we've definitely spent a lot of time on what we did in that game and then who they are this year. They're always a little bit different year to year on what they emphasize and what they do.
So kind of just laid it out there in a nice Bobby way. It was like, okay, yeah, last year's something, but they're so good. They do a lot of different things. They're good at a lot of different things. And, you got to prepare for everything that's going to be happening against Tennessee. So
I was just going to say, I probably would show the film of the guys who played in that game last year that are still on the team and be like, look how hard you played, like Sorey and Steven Dix Campbell, any of those guys. That's what I would do. Is I would cut up those clips and be like, yeah, you remember when you beat a top 5 team, last season? This was the effort that you gave. Like, this is kind of what's required if you want to try to do that again. That would be the one thing that I would take away from that is you've done this before. We've seen it. Now maybe you can find a little bit of motivation from something you did well in the past and try to recapture it.
I think another thing is this is, for this year's Razorback team, game number 6, this is going to be by far the biggest atmosphere they've played in, home or away. Like, this is going to be the toughest road test. I think if you're
Lane
Arkansas,
Kiffin doesn't want to hear that.
I mean, sure, but I mean, like, have a stadium that seats more than 12,000. Sorry, and also, but you're gonna have the checkerboard and all that. I think if you're Bobby Petrino in Arkansas, you need to be selling that as a good thing for your team. Of like, hey, this is a massive opportunity. You came to the SEC to play in games like this. You mentioned playing hard, Curtis. It shouldn't be that hard to play hard coming off a bye week when your season's on the line. You're in front of 100,000 and you're playing against one of the best teams in the country. Like, in terms of motivation, and we always are trying to guess. And with the Razorbacks, we always have to guess. How much will the Razorbacks even be trying to win this game? I think for this game, Bobby and his staff, it shouldn't be that hard to sell them and get them to at least come into this with a positive mindset, and then we'll see what they can do on the field. But I think you guys are right in terms of the messaging of trying to manipulate your team into playing hard.
Well, and then also Petrino was asked about the pace that the Vols play at, which is a very fast pace. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, it's something that obviously they've been very good at for a long time. They're good at executing, good at moving fast. It's important for us to make sure we have great communication, we get in the right stances and get our eyes where they belong. Something we've been working on the last 2 weeks, and obviously it presents a challenge, but it's something that I think that we've been doing a good job of at practice.
Okay, I'm just going to say this, guys. The stance must be the biggest bugaboo of this entire team and defense. I have heard more about the stance of this team, like players talking about getting in the right stance. Yeah, Petrino talk about the stance. He keeps talking about the stances. I'm not saying that that's the only thing wrong with this defense, but it is incredible to me how much the stance and getting into the right stance has been mentioned and defensively and in the changes. And I'm like, good grief. Like, what was the defensive staff doing when they couldn't even do something as simple as getting the stance right? It's incredible how many times we've heard about this.
It really is, man. And we're going to find out right away if Bobby Petrino's message is resonating with this team, because that's been the emphasis. And it's been all those little things of just having some urgency about you and some fundamentals defensively, stance, having your eyes in the right place, getting lined up and in alignment before the damn snap. All that stuff is what they've really been working on. And now you're playing a team. I thought that was a good question with super high tempo, what the best in the country, fastest in the country, whatever. So it's even more of an emphasis. Even if you were good at it, you would be working on that during practice. You suck at it. And so now you have to work on it overtime in practice. And we'll know right away, because if they're lost out there and there's missed assignments and guys are looking confused and everything, it's just same old. But if we actually do see some improvement there, that's going to be encouraging to me, of thinking, wow, at least they're listening to what Petrino's saying, and they're trying to make a concerted effort to do it.
I feel bad for how much we're talking about like the mental motivation of this team, but really when you see this, the way this season's gone, it's a very valid thing. It's very simple concept to me of, like, say you're trying to do something and someone says, hey, why don't you try it this way? If you try it and then it works, now all of a sudden you have a little bit more faith in that guy. And you're like, wow, this guy must have, he really helped me out in a big way. He must know something. And then all of a sudden you view it through a very different lens. I'll never forget, I had a basketball coach, Coach Tinsley. Shout out to Coach Tinsley. He was a great man off the court, not a great man on the court. But I remember my freshman year, he was telling the team, and I wasn't playing at this point, but he was like, guys, I guarantee it. If you guys rebound, we win the game. I can guarantee it. If we win the rebound battle, we win the game. We won the rebound battle, we won the game. And I just remember in the moment being like, dude, Coach Tinsley's a genius. That's all we had to do was win the rebound battle, and we won. Like, that's crazy. And so I don't think it's going to be as simple as, hey, guys, you get lined up right and we're going to beat Tennessee. It's not that simple, but I do think there's something powerful of, hey, a coach tells you, hey, maybe why don't you try something this way? And then if you have any success doing it, now all of a sudden you feel better about yourself. You feel better about the team. You have a little bit more respect for that coach. And so I think that's what this week is about. Not even that Arkansas has to go beat Tennessee for Bobby to earn the respect of that team, but I think the players need to see some stuff like that of like, hey, if you just try these little simple things, you can show these players in real time how powerful doing the right little things can be. And then you get them to buy in, and then all of a sudden, maybe they're not quitting on you in the middle of the fourth quarter. And I don't know if it's that simple, but I think that's what this week is all about, is just kind of getting that belief, getting that respect back in the team. And sometimes it can literally be as simple as, if you just line up right, you're going to give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, because I try to dive into the psychology of all this, which is probably stupid and dangerous on my part, but it's like the amount of times that Petrino talks about it, and it sounds so simple, because we none of us have played college football at a high level, and but the stance part of it, we're kind of like, yeah, it seems pretty basic, like that's. It's not like, hey, we're having to learn how to do a quarter zone blitz out here on the outside. It's like, no, the stance. It's like, well, I know how to stand. And if you tell me in a certain way how to stand in my stance, and that's going to be. So it sounds such a simplistic thing. And that's where it just is one of those things that makes me wonder about Petrino. Is it something that has been going on a long time? Is it something that drove him up a wall because the defense, like, seeing them? It's like, hey, these guys are poorly coached, or these guys are poorly in bad spots. Like, it just makes me wonder why like why that? Like there's a lot of things about this defense that needs to be improved. Let's be honest. It's not like you just stand this way and suddenly boom, you're a top 10 defense. But there's got to be to where there was the simple things that this defense was doing wrong. Because all I can hear from Bobby, from everybody's like, is very basic stuff. It's effort and it's stances. In fact, those are the two things we've heard the most about: effort and stance. So if that changes, okay. But like you said, Curtis, the pressure is on of like, all right, you make it sound so simple. So if you do it, it should show improvement, right? In theory. But if it doesn't, if we still see this team giving up 70 points to Tennessee and they're not tackling, and Xavier Sori's just being bounced off like a bumper pool or what? Never mind, that was the dumb. But you know what I'm saying? He bounces around, so you don't need to have that happen. But that's my thing. Is I want it to be true, but it almost sounds too simple. Or I'm like, I don't know, man. This sounds too simple. What fixes it? I don't believe
you got to put your pants on one leg at a time. Like that's the first part of the process that you got to be able to figure out before it gets more complicated. Yeah. And don't zip your berries up in your pants. We figure out the belt loop. All those things gets a little bit more complicated than just sticking your legs in the pants there. So that's what they're doing right now. Is the basic pre-snap stuff you got to figure out, man. It's one leg at a time.
I will say, as much as we're talking about the psychology aspect of it, it does work both ways, and it's very, because I'm sure there's a lot of guys in that locker room right now who are convincing themselves, and they're trying to talk themselves in as we speak of, oh crap, we're doing these things differently. Maybe this actually will work. That door to quit is still cracked open pretty far. You lose this game, Tennessee, in embarrassing fashion. It kind of ruins that little illusion you had of, oh yeah, we fixed our stance and now we're good at defense. I wonder how open that door to quit is going to be and how quickly some of these guys will go through it. Because as we've learned in the last few weeks, it doesn't take an overwhelming amount of adversity for these guys to crack sometimes.
That's right. And also, by the way, people were thinking I was like taking a side of bumper pull. I wasn't. I was trying to think on the fly of what that game is called. It was pinball, and they have the bumpers in it. It kind of all came together and it just came out as bumper pull. So everyone's just like, oh, John taking shots at bumper pull. Relax. Okay. No, relax. It's not that way at all.
I mean, he was a missed tackle merchant, but
listen, but Bumper's doing big things, man. And Bumper, I mean, he still has the greatest name in all of football, that's for sure. So
is he still an all-time tackle leader? Is that a thing that happened? Yeah,
maybe. Something like that. I don't know. He played here for like 5-6 years. So, but either way, we'll continue to get to some of the comments and some of the clips here from press conferences and everything too. But want to remind everybody and tell everybody about one of our new sponsors here on Inside Arkansas. It is the Drain Masters of Arkansas. Drain Masters are officially licensed in plumbing as well as drain cleaning while serving the entire River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, Oklahoma, and beyond. They are ready to handle all of your plumbing and drain cleaning needs with professional and reliable services. So if you need to request a service at your home, you can give them a call today at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. Or you can scan the QR code on your screen. You can also like their Facebook page at Drain Masters Inc. And if you tell them that the fellas over here at Inside Arkansas sent you, you get 10% off of all of your services. So you don't want to have any sort of issues going on. But when you do have those issues, and you can save 10% because you listen to us and we're partnered with Drain Masters, it's the best of all worlds. So appreciate our guy Jacob for making it possible. But anything and everything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. It's Drain Masters of Arkansas. All right. So we also have some other clips too that we'll get into and play. I just wanted to play this one from Bobby in the SEC teleconference because it kind of made me laugh. Because we were talking about before the show, Shaq McCrory scored a touchdown. Like he was, like we all knew he would this year. But that was happening to Notre Dame game. I think most people just deleted it or weren't watching or left or anything. But Bobby was asked about that play, and as much as Bobby has a sense of humor about it, this is what he had to say about it.
Okay, and then the Shaq McCrory touchdown run the other day. I wonder who came up with that and why Shaq and how that kind of played into the game plan on the goal line.
I think Shaq's a big man and he's hard to stop. It's a play that I've carried for a number of years. I always like to give it to the big guy. We call the formation mouse just because we put that little guy in the backfield.
What a joker! What a jokester out there talking about calling it mouse and the big man. I haven't watched all of Petrino's offenses like for the past 10 years essentially, but I'm wondering if he's actually ever called that play, because I know at Arkansas he never did, because he always had like Kiro Small or Broderick Green, who were the size of some offensive linemen, some tastes running it. But either way, I'm glad that he has that play. It's just unfortunate you used it in a time where it literally did not matter against Notre Dame.
I know. Yeah, that was cool. The only memorable play, I guess, of that game that went in the favor of Arkansas there. Could you see Petrino? How do you think he handles this? Do you think he called it mouse, and then, as he says it, or when they're calling it, he's just kind of got like a crooked smile on the side of his face? Or is he one of the guys that just, kind of goes up to a random assistant and he's like, get it? Mouse. See what I did there? I wonder what type of guy he is. It doesn't strike me as the overly humorous type, but it's well done. I like it.
I don't want to out Bobby here. I don't want to reveal his secrets. I think that Bobby, after he left Arkansas, was keeping his eye on the Razorbacks and was inspired by some of the plays that Brett Bielema ran when he was the head hog. I mean, he would have the long snapper catch passes. He would have Sebastian Chertola catch passes. Have I ever told y'all the story? I told a story the other day about me taking the ACT. Sebastian Chertola's touchdown came on another day where I took the ACT, and I remember getting out of the test and did what everyone does, checks the score, sees the game recap or whatever, and I'm like, Sebastian Chertola 6-yard touchdown. I was like, don't think that's accurate. That has to be a typo. That has to be whatever. And then I get home and find out it was a real thing.
Now, see, well, if we get Shaq McCrory throwing touchdown passes, we're in for a treat. But to answer your question, though, Curtis, I think it's more of the thing of, at least from what I gathered, when Bobby talks about the play with Ryan Mallett with 6 seconds left against LSU, when they were not kneeling it, he's calling a play, and Mallett just kind of looked at him again. It's like that, and I was like, yeah. It's like it's one of those things like mouse. Really, it's what it's called? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Like, just very, very direct. And and I wonder, like, is that something that Bobby, when he was like writing the play up or doing, he's like, mouse, because he's not small. That's brilliant. Like, I just wonder how the process went there. So, again, it was a cool play. Just would have been nice to maybe Shaq McCrory hits the game-winning touchdown for Arkansas, running it in.
Dude, you know what sucks? So the Memphis game, well, obviously Arkansas ended up losing, and we didn't talk about it because we were talking about their loss. Corey Robinson, have we talked about Corey Robinson's celebration that he had in that one game, where it was like a basketball celebration and Corey Robinson did like a step back? It looked clean, and I was like, I wanted to bring it up on the show and be like, hey, look at this awesome celebration. But they ended up losing to Memphis, and we didn't have time to get to it.
Yeah, celebrations are only cool if you don't embarrass yourself on the field later in the game.
Is there anything better in sports than just big guy doing something that a big guy shouldn't do? Like, that's the easiest bit to pull off in sports.
It's hard to beat, man.
Yeah. Well, that Chertola play you talked about, like he did the Heisman pose. Like, it was, and do you remember they did like a whole video of like Sam Pittman as an offensive line coach talking about later. He's like, here's our application for him to be the Heisman Trophy, and it's just Sebastian Chertola is having a joke about it and all that. It was really funny. It was really well done back when things were fun with Arkansas. But either way, there's nothing better than seeing a fat guy score. I mean, what was it? The replacements, I think, is what John Madden called it. So, okay. So we heard from Petrino, and also last night got to hear from a few of the Razorback players. And of course, this is kind of the first time, other than maybe some social media post, that we actually got to hear from what they were talking about and what went through their mind. And we don't have to spend much time on the Pittman angle, because they basically just like, hey, we were shocked. But here's Taylon Green and Caleb Wooden, both talking about Petrino and practices and the changes and everything that's come along with it.
He still holds us to a high standard. Even when he's not there, he's watching, special teams. When we go offense, defense, he's normally stays with the offense. But Coach Miles Fishback does a great job with us in the meeting rooms and getting us prepared, and just continuing to hold that standard, because we know how Coach Petrino coaches and what he demands. So it's a great opportunity for Coach Fishback and myself to lead the quarterback room.
I would say more energy, getting in a good stance, tackling is emphasized more. Pursuit to the football is definitely emphasized, and just playing as one. I know Coach Petrino, he introduced something called tap the hat, and basically that's when somebody makes the plays, all other 10 guys come and show him love, tap him on the helmet. Basically, just applauding them for making that play.
okay, guys, I want to bring this up because this was said by Caleb Wooden. They're working on tackling more. That's something that's just getting worked on, is tackling like more. Was it not being worked on as much before? Like, these are the things where I'm like, not just like, oh, we're working on this type of approach to tackling and everything. It's just like, no, we're just working on tackling more. It's like, what does that mean? Like, those are the things where I don't know. I probably overthink them a little bit, but hearing that from Wooden, I was like, geez, dude, like, hopefully that was something you were working on before. And if not, why? These are the questions I have.
If they were working on it before, they weren't doing it right, or not working on it enough, I guess. So I get it. Yeah, there he was, like you mentioned, talking about stance and everything. Tap the hat. That means something different nowadays than it did when I was a youngster, but good on them. I like that. Teamwork makes the dream work, man.
I thought that was an ode to Rakeem Boyd, tapping the hat, asking to get out of the game.
Yeah,
but no, I think that's funny. I mean, one, it's just good to hear a player echo some of the things that Bobby's been saying of like, oh yeah, we're working on our stance, we're working on our alignment. It also just feels like that's the most disrespectful way you could go about it. And in a good way. That's what this defense needed, was to be disrespected. It's like, imagine if someone like came in, Curtis, and they were like, hey, I'm here to coach you basketball. We're going to work nothing but layups for a week. Like, y'all are just going to learn how to make layups. It's like, we're just going to build around there. It's like very disrespectful, but I love it. And it's necessary, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are things where I shouldn't be sitting here being like, oh man, that's really cool. This is making me feel good. But then, it's just very basic, and it's very basic driven. And as far as the ways that they're working on, to where, again, it just makes me have more questions of what was going on, if something, or is it, is this maybe a defense that is feeling better about things now than what they were a couple of weeks ago? I don't know. I really don't know. But that's why they have to play the game against Tennessee and find out exactly what it's about. Because let's be honest, you rank 16th in the SEC in pretty much every statistical category defensively. You can only get better from here. It can only go up from here, but you just got to actually showcase it at some point in time. So,
have either of you guys looked at the over-under for this game?
Oh, yeah.
What's the number at right now?
I don't know. I'm
69.5.
Nice. Wow.
That's a fair number.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was going to get up over 70.
Okay. So Bet SARACEN actually, it's dropped to 68.5. How about this, guys? It's only a 12.5 point favorite now. So for Tennessee.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's
eventually an under's got to hit for an Arkansas game, right? I'm pretty sure Arkansas is 5-0 against the over.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because this one's 68.5. And then it's like, you look at the Georgia Auburn game, and that one's at like 42.5. So it's just could not be more polar opposite. But that's what you have happen when you have literally two of the top 3 or 4 offenses in the SEC going up against 2 of the worst defenses in the SEC. Right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like, and I was talking with my guy, Eric Kane, which I know you guys know, but he covers Tennessee. But it's like, I don't know if you guys feel the same. I feel like anytime you're like, oh man, this for sure is going to be shootout central and over. It feels like it never is. It never ends up being that type of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bobby even kind of alluded to that. I guess it was on Monday when he was talking about it, that you feel like it's going to be a shootout, and, it's whoever gets the first stop wins. And then next thing you know, it's 10-9 in the third quarter or whatever. I don't know if I see a world to where that is even possible with this Arkansas Tennessee game. It would have to just require a bunch of mistakes, like turnovers in the red zones, and like both teams missed field goals, whatever. Otherwise, I just don't know how these teams don't score.
Yeah, it's, as someone who loses and wins money on point totals a lot, it's all about the like yards per point. So to the point you're making, Curtis, like you have to have that like long drive that's a 7-minute drive that ends in 3 points, or you have to have that turnover in the red zone. You have to have that 4th down style. Like, you just need these weird things to happen where I could see the game playing out where both offenses move the ball religiously and like never get stopped, but we still somehow don't get the over because their touchdown drives are 9 minutes. And when they get in the red zone, sometimes they settle for field goals. I could see something like that where it's like 900 yards of offense, but it's like 35-24 type of thing.
Well, do you guys want to guess what the Razorback team total is over under for this one?
30. No, 20, 26.
28.
Man, right in between, 27.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. But that's fair. And then Tennessee's is 41. So there you go. Again, we'll do our bets, I know, for with Bet SARACEN. But yeah, definitely fascinating to see the spreads and everything that's going on with that as well. Also, too, before we get into actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and play this clip from Quincy Rhodes as well as Michael Washington, which I thought was interesting. They had offense and defense together, players together, and then switch it up. So I don't really know. But either way, Quincy Rhodes and Mike Washington were also asked about the changes going on within the program and practices and all of that stuff.
I'm going to just start off here. The tempo has definitely changed. It's a lot quicker. The periods are shorter, but they're quick pace. So, the coaches have done a great job with, getting to the nail of things and being able to also focus on detail as well when it comes to coaching, the defense. It took us a few days, honestly. But now we at the point to where, at the end of the day, we still got to play ball. We all, represent, the state on the front of our jersey as well as the name on our back. So we still have a why. So we just been balling out there.
Mike, putting your finger on what's going on in the second half of these last few games, what would you say you guys need to do better in second halves?
Just got to finish. I feel like, the first half, we'll come out strong, and then, it's kind of evident that we've ran out of gas in the second half. So that's been the emphasis, the past couple weeks is really just finishing.
Shout out to a Tom Murphy appearance there.
A little jump scare there. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how they started recording the Zooms, is they let everyone's face be on there. But either way, so that's the thing, is like you talk about just playing for the name on the front and the back. And then you have he talked about the tempo, at least Quincy Rhodes talking about the tempo, referring to practices and everything. That's how it's been elevated a whole lot. So again, just trying to put pieces together as far as some of the changes that go on. And I think the defense is definitely the most intriguing part of it, because the offense, even Taylor Green, I think, mentioned, he's like, the offense and approach and everything hasn't really changed much. But the defense has kind of been put on its head a little bit. So, again, tempo apparently is a big change here.
Sure. That's good stuff there from Quincy. Yeah, that's what they need to be working on. I'm glad they are. I saw somebody in the chat earlier said that I should be able to get Arch Manning's that NIL glasses commercial that he does. Like, man, Curtis needs to get that. I'm going to nominate Quincy Rhodes. He wears them good, man. Looks good in the specs there. So I'm excited. That's one of the things that's kind of been lost in the absolute disaster class of a defense this has been. Quincy Rhodes has been really, really good, man. And he's got the potential here to put together what could be a special season individually. And I hope he continues to do that, because you look around Arkansas's their team in general, but particularly their defense, and you're like, okay, maybe they're not playing that hard. Yeah, maybe they're lost or they're poorly coached or whatever. But who are the dudes? Like, who are the studs? Who are the guys that are going to hear their name called in the NFL draft? Quincy Rhodes is one of those guys who could be in those conversations. And so I know when the Pittman news happened and everything, and he was sending out some things on Twitter, obviously he was really feeling some type of way about it, but I hope to see him locked in and focused and continuing to build on what's been a really good season for him personally, which will kind of go to what Petrino was talking about with his initial message to these guys of, hey, you also got to do this for you and your future and your draft stock or your marketability with NIL or whatever. I really hope that he embodies that, because he's a hell of a player.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, of all the guys on this team that we can question the effort and we can question how hard they've been playing or how much they're really in it, Quincy Rhodes, honestly, is not on that list or even close to that list. Dude's been balling. Dude's been awesome. And that's part of why I was not disappointed, but like why I didn't love him tweeting out the thumbs down emoji and like kind of being, I get you being sad about your head coach. That's fine. But you're a leader. Like, to that same point, you're a leader. These guys are looking at you to see what you do. And so if you're pouting, they're probably going to pout. And so I think that's interesting. One thing I got to be honest, and this is maybe just me being a negative Nancy here. Quincy said, hey, we're still playing for the name on the front of the jersey, so like that's our thing here. Quincy, I know you are, because you're a Little Rock guy. You love the logo. You love the Razorbacks. I have no doubt that you're going to play hard and you're going to play for the front of that jersey. The rest of your teammates, I do not know that about. I do not, why would Caleb Wooden care about the name on the front of the jersey? Why would Steven Dix care about the name on the front of the jersey? Why would any of these guys, why would Jaheim Singletary care about the name on the front of the jersey? We would like to think they would, and I'm sure they do to some extent, but I don't know if I necessarily buy that. So it coming from Quincy Rhodes, cool, because Quincy, I know you love the logo, and we see it. We see how much you care. I don't know if I can buy that the rest of the team is really just going to play for the front of the logo.
Yeah. In fact, I kind of want to bring something up with that in connection with that here in a second, but want to remind everybody that Hickey and Hole Law is our official law firm here at Inside Arkansas. We know that any sort of legal case that you need help with, well, you don't want to do it yourself. You need help, and don't go to your uncle or your friends or anything like that. Go to the professionals. Go to the best in the business, Hickey and Hole Law, where they handle divorce cases, custody cases, criminal, civil litigation, personal injury, estate planning. All the above. They're the best in the business at it, especially divorce and custody cases, because those are so important. Dealing with family, dealing with children, you need to make sure that you have the right guidance legally every step of the way. So give them a call today and let them help you with your legal advice. It's Hickey and Hole Law. You can call at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website. It's hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code also on your screen too, and it'll take you right to the website. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. Okay, so going to your point, Andrew, about the playing for the name on the front of the jersey, which I agree with you. And again, maybe I over dramatize this or overlook it or however you want to put it, but is there maybe something to the fact, because everybody talks about transfer portal and hating how much, these players are here for 1 year and they move on. Is it maybe better if you were going to be in a situation like this where you do have a firing and you do have a staff getting wiped out, that so many of these players are just transfer, not this overly connected guys to their coach, to their staff, to whoever. It's not saying all of them, but like a Caleb Wooden, he talked about the changes and how he went through it at Auburn and all that. I feel like someone like him, it's like, if you were going to have this situation, a player like that may be better suited to handle, because it's kind of like, man, I was here for 5 minutes. I'm not that connected to him. I feel like there might be something to that, to where, again, you never want to go through this situation, but if you are, it's best to have it with a bunch of players that didn't have that set in stone connection with a lot of these coaches.
Yeah, that's interesting. You think about what led us to this point, and it was a lot of things, right? But part of it could be just the lack of togetherness, and not just people who represent the state of Arkansas or from the state of Arkansas or whatever, but just who have been in the program long enough to really have that pride ingrained in you. They had more guys transfer off of this roster the last 2 years than any power conference team in the country. And you have so many new faces who've been here for a couple months and who have had 2 home games in Fayetteville. So from that standpoint, you think about, okay, well, why aren't they, seems like they're not playing for each other, or man, are they not playing for this coaching staff? Do they not have pride for the family? What's going on here? Yeah, maybe there's something to that, but you're right. Once you get in this situation where you're dealing with that adversity and everything like that, it's like, okay, this is a business, man. It's a transactional world that we live in now. I think it was Wooden, right, who was like, this is a business, man. If you win, you stay, and if you lose, you go. And that's just kind of the way that it is. And he's right about that. So you might be onto something where, these guys can now kind of take that message that Bobby is delivering and maybe rally around that a little bit better than doing the whole, playing for the name on the front of the jersey bit, which is cool. And maybe it fires fans up, but it's just a different era that we're living in, and a different era that they're playing in.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not that like, I'm not here to say that like, hey, none of these kids care about Arkansas. I'm sure they all have their varying levels. And of course, someone like Quincy Rhodes. Yeah, of course he does. But I remember watching Hard Knocks and watching Myles Garrett with the Cleveland Browns. They had a loss where that basically eliminated them from the playoffs. And then they had 3 or 4 games left or whatever. And he was giving this kind of speech, the same lines that we're saying of, hey, this is no longer about anything. This is about you. Like you are going to determine what you do these next few games, but whatever you want to accomplish, whether that's getting a big contract, getting a second contract, staying a part of the organization, getting a part of a different organization, same goes for these players. Whether you want to transfer and go to a different school and have success, whether you want to play professional ball, whatever you want to accomplish, you playing hard and playing together and us having success will help you accomplish that goal. And so I think you got to appeal to these. I mean, I know it's crazy. I really think you got to appeal to these kids' selfish nature. And it's not even like the kids are wrong for feeling that way. I think you gotta look at it that way of like, you need to help yourself. If you're trying to buy in and get these kids, if the premise that's going to get these kids over the top is their love for Arkansas, it's probably not going to get them that much. But they care a lot more about themselves than they do about their teammates and then they do about Arkansas. So you have to kind of trick them into playing together. And then all of a sudden, you have some success. Now all of a sudden we're playing together. And football is still obviously a team sport. But at the end of the day, it is still 11 guys doing their jobs, and you're doing your job next to someone else doing his job. But if you're winning your matchup, you're doing your job every play, you're going to have success. And so honestly, I'm with you guys that like, I think you got to appeal to their selfish nature a little bit. And as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah. And here's the deal. I know in theory, listen, every fan wants every player on Arkansas to play for the Razorbacks and be a Razorback and love the Razorbacks and love, wear nothing but the Razorbacks and do all that. Cause it is cool. It's a great story. I mean, that's why I still to this day believe Darren McFadden's the greatest Razorback of all time, because that dude just loves Arkansas, loves everything about the Razorbacks. And he happened to be an incredible player. That's awesome. But at the same time, not every player, you can't hold them to that same expectation. You can't just assume and want these guys to be like, hey, well, if you're here, you better love the Razorbacks and it better be everything about it. I get it. You want it to be. But at the same time, you just want to win. And honestly, if like Arkansas comes out and says win, and say they beat Tennessee, and you're like, well, is any of you going to be like, well, that was a great win and all. However, I know there were some players that weren't playing for the Razorbacks and that was their main goal. Like, no, you're not going to give a rip. Like you're going to go out there and you're going to be excited because your team's winning. And I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble here, not trying to throw shade. However, like John Calipari and his basketball team, he's got some one and dones. He's got some players of 1 year here. Like, it'd be great if all of them were Razorback through and through and all that stuff. But let's not kid ourselves. They're here because of John Calipari and they're wearing the Razorback jersey. And as long as they win, you're going to be awesome. Like everyone's going to be so happy as long as they win. And you're not going to care about, it's like, oh man, I've always wanted to be a Razorback fan and I got a slobber hog tattooed on my butt cheek. Like they're not going to do those things. So, you just want to win. And that's what it comes down to. So don't worry about playing for the name on the front of the jersey and all that. Some can do that and that's great. But don't hold the expectation and the standard to all the players that play for the Razorbacks. It's just an unfair expectation on anybody.
I had somebody who, Abdu Torre committed to the basketball program on Friday, and we had a segment on the Pod at the Palace about this, but there were a lot of, he lives in Connecticut. There were a lot of UConn fans pissed at a comment that he made, which is basically that he, like Arkansas showed him more love, made him feel more comfortable. He thought it was a better fit for his game. So he chose Arkansas over them, whatever. They didn't even really recruit him all that hard, but somebody asked me, because in the quote, he said, like, yeah, growing up and everything, UConn was my dream school, like it was in the state and all that. And then as he started progressing and everything, saw how they played, saw how they were recruiting him versus other places, he knew that wasn't the fit for him, and Arkansas was. And somebody asked me like, well, are you worried about him, giving his all and going all out for Arkansas if UConn was his dream school? No, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that one bit, man. This is just a different time that we're living here. And I thought that was interesting, because I was so caught up on, man, it's crazy that they kind of turned their back on that kid in his own state when that school didn't even really recruit him that hard. I didn't expect somebody to turn around on me. I was like, well, yeah, but this kid from Connecticut who's originally from Guinea, in Africa or whatever, Arkansas wasn't his dream school. So is he not going to play hard for the Razorbacks? No, that's not how this works, man.
That's a great example right there, Curtis. And I know that we were kind of painting this picture of like these just selfish kids that are just walking around like, you need to give them a carrot just to get them to perform and all that. But you mentioned, John, the pride in the program and the pride of these guys feel, and we can't necessarily expect all these guys to feel that at the same level and feel it at the same time. That's also something, by the way, that just comes naturally a lot of times. Like Frank Ragnow from freaking Minnesota. You think he was 12 years old being like, man, I can't wait to be a Razorback? No. Do you think he came to Arkansas because he loved the Razorbacks? No, he came to Arkansas because he thought, hey, Brett Bielema can get me to the NFL and I'm going to do all this. And then somewhere along the line, you're there, you're accomplishing your dreams. You found somewhere that feels like home. Now all of a sudden you do feel that way. And all of a sudden, like Vahiva Aloy, he comes from Hawaii. He's now found a home. Now he does feel that pride. And so now you see how much they care when they lose. That's something you can't force as a coach. You cannot force this premise of like, hey, you're going to come here and you're going to care from day one and all that. You have to kind of let these kids fall in love. And the way they fall in love is by having those moments, by having those atmospheres in front of the fans where they feel that love, and it all of a sudden makes them feel something they've never felt in their lives. That's what sports is all about, ultimately. Like at every level, you're trying to give these kids an experience that they can remember and they can find out about themselves. And that is something that you're not going to be able to feel that way by some coach, some interim head coach that really didn't even recruit you, telling you, hey, you better care about the logo. That is something that just develops over time, and we see it happen all the time. And so I think if that's the premise that you're aiming for, it's probably the wrong one. And I, by the way, don't think Bobby Petrino, I'm sure he talked a little bit about having pride in the Razorbacks. I don't think that is his number one selling point. I think you got to appeal to these kids, help them accomplish their dreams, and then they'll play for you forever. That's what Coach Calipari represents, honestly.
Well, it's even that. And then, even using the baseball element, like the best players that have come to Arkansas and Dave Van Horn has coached and gone on, like, are not from Arkansas. Heston Kjerstad is kind of saying, I didn't think he grew up, oh man, Razorback fan through and through. Andrew Benintendi, not the same way. But what do you see? You see Heston Kjerstad, Benintendi, like they're rooting for the Razorbacks. They're tweeting about it. Alex Collins is another great example. Could not be further away from anything Arkansas related, rest in peace. And he bought into the Razorbacks. Trey Flowers, same thing. So yeah, it's a matter of, you don't have to be born that way. You don't have to be growing up in that way. It's a great story because, again, I bring up Darren McFadden. Like that dude didn't even take college visits. He was a 5-star player. He's like, no, I'm going to Arkansas. Like, I always brought up, I think it was in the Discord when people were like, oh, well, he got Houston Nutt got Darren McFadden here. It's like, man, Darren McFadden would have come here if we were the coaches. Like, he was in Razorback through and through. And that's great. That's an awesome story. But, I still like a lot of other players that weren't from here, that ended up being Razorbacks and being really good. So it can be a lot of different directions there. I tell you what, as part of our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Remember, folks, go into insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. You go to that website and you can see the entire catalog, all the Razorback apparel that they have. You can have it shipped to your door directly. Get it in time for the Texas A&M game because it's going to be a big one. It's a 2:30 game, which, it would have been better if it was a night game. But hey, we're not going to be choosing here. All right. We're going to have some fun with it. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. And they're getting some of their winter wear in, especially with basketball season around the corner. So be sure to use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. Just go to insidearkansas.com/alumni hall and get to shopping with the ultimate Razorback shopping experience is Alumni Hall. So guys, this is a very generic question and, it's just one way, but I was curious to where Razorback fans, we talked about it yesterday, people thinking Petrino's the better coach than Pittman, that maybe Petrino's going to have them more prepared. Maybe there's some upgrades here, but I simply asked the question of, will Arkansas play their best game of the season against Tennessee so far? Like we've seen them play well, but we've also seen them play like crap. So, but are they going to play their best game because of Petrino, because of the new energy, because of the 2 weeks, because of the bye week and all that? 59% say no. And honestly, this was a wider margin for a long time. It started to shift the other direction. But I think when I first put it up and the first 100 votes hit, it was about 68% were saying that way. But either way, I just wanted to see how Razorback fans are going into this matchup of thinking, hey, they could play their best game of the season, but it seems like most Razorback fans saying no, which also makes me wonder, okay, so what was their best game of the season? You think they're not going to get up there too? Like, was it Arkansas State? Was it one of those? I don't know. But either way, slightly over the majority of people feel like this is not going to be the best performance by Arkansas this year.
That's my thing. It's tough to handicap that. If their best performance of the season was against Arkansas State, I don't know how we could watch, any outcome besides a win against Tennessee and try to compare it. Did they play better? Did they play worse? That's so hard to do. But yeah, listen, I hope that they do, man. And I think that they're going to have an inspired effort, at least early on in the game. But, this is a big change, maybe not so much offensively, but there's a lot going on over there on the other side of the ball. And I agree. I think that they have a better coach in charge now than they did before the previous guy got fired, which is weird. And it's rare. It's unique. But man, when you get rid of an entire staff on one side of the ball and you're bringing in guys off the street, even if they're qualified, it's a lot to overcome. So I imagine there's going to be some communication things still going on. There's probably going to be some missed assignments and some breakdowns there. If there's not, I'll be super, super impressed. So I don't know if I can go as far as to say I think they'll play their best game of the year, but I think they'll probably play a little bit better than, maybe some people are giving them credit for big picture. I just don't know if it's going to translate into a win or anything like that.
Yeah, I think they'll have like a little bit of juice at the beginning of this game. I think that there will be a moment in the first quarter where the announcers are doing the bit of like, hey, this looks like a little bit of a different Arkansas team. And by the way, if they end up beating Tennessee in any way, shape, or form, I will gladly classify this as their best performance of the season. But to answer the question, I think like this is not going to be their best game of the season because it's just a way harder task. I think Arkansas very well could be a better football team than they were week 1 or week 2, but they had a very easy task that they completed with flying colors. So it's like, for me, I'm like, I can't imagine they're going to play better than they played. I mean, Talon threw like 6 touchdowns in one of those games. So it's like, I feel like they probably won't play that well, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a worse team, if that makes sense.
Well, it was funny because I started thinking about, I'm like, all right, well, they played 5 games so far this year. I'll just rank what their best performances were this season. And I started looking at them like, I just ranked them in order of the games that they were played, because that's how it feels like. It's like their best game, was Alabama A&M, just because, 6 touchdowns or whatever. Arkansas State, hey, you blew them out and you won. Then, Ole Miss on the road, that game was right there. And then Memphis was worse. And then Notre Dame was awful. So I'm like, I didn't even have to rank them. It's just the games have gotten worse as the season has gone on and the way that this team has played. So, but we'll get into some of your chats, folks. Appreciate all of you. And before we do that, though, want to remind everybody, we mentioned it, but this Saturday, we are going to be live streaming for a watch party at Goat Lab Red in Fayetteville, 1214 North Garland Avenue. We were there for Pot at the Palace pregame show. Sorry, Curtis, I'm not going to say what you called it before because it's already been passed. So I'm going to screw it up. But either way, it was awesome. And the amount of people that showed up, it was great. It was so great to see everybody and hang out with everybody. And we're going to be doing it again Saturday for the game. It's at 3:15. We'll start our live stream, a little pregame show action at 2:45. And then we're going to stream the entire game and give our commentary and have some fun and have some reactions. Hopefully it's a great game instead of being blowout city and all that. But even if it is, though, they're going to have some great deals going on. Progressive Wing Night, once again, is going on, where the wings start at a discount price. And after every score, the price drops by the score amount until the wings are free. And the Hog scores, they count double. So if they start at $1 per wing, if you guys think that this is going to be high flying, high scoring, like Bet Saracen and all in Vegas thinks, then y'all are going to get some great deals on some wings. I can tell you that. And before you arrive before kickoff, you purchase your first set of wings for 6 wings after initial discount price of $1. And at each price drop, you must purchase at least 2 wings. And when wings hit free, which happens pretty often with this offense and these teams that they've played, you get to eat all you want. No to-go orders. You must finish your wings before ordering more. And there's no sharing. And also, the goats, as they call them, reserve the right to say no wings for you. So don't be abusive of the deal. Be nice. Be reasonable. But it's going to be awesome. So come hang out with us at Goat Lab Red on Saturday for the game, 1214 North Garland Avenue. It's going to be a good time, and hopefully it ends up being a great game, and hopefully end up celebrating with some of their signature beers over there, having a great time with it as well, beating Tennessee. Would be nice.
I'll either be celebrating or drowning my sorrows. One of the two.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And also, I guess I'll let you talk about, Curtis, real quick, that you guys are going to be in Hot Springs, too, on Sunday.
Yes, we are going to be in Hot Springs on Sunday. I saw somebody in the chat ask if we figured out where we're going to be doing our post-game show from. The answer is yes, but I'm not saying it yet. I got a phone call right after this show to sure up all the details and everything like that. I don't want to jump the gun, even though it's done, but stay tuned for that. We'll have a graphic and everything put out for there. We'll talk about it on the Pod at the Palace. We'll talk about it the next couple of days. But yes, we have found our spot in Hot Springs for the Pod at the Palace post game after the tip-off tour there in Hot Springs on Sunday. And make sure you guys know where it's at and you can come out and hang out with us. We're excited about it. Some good eats where we're headed.
I'm looking forward to Sunday. I went into Friday with like the lowest possible expectations because I had been scarred by all these past events. And last year we had the tip-off tour in Pine Bluff, which, was not a cool event. So I gotta do my best. I know we're all excited. I'm gonna keep that same energy though and go in with the lowest possible expectations because I had such a good time Friday night because of those low expectations. But if I go in Sunday being like, oh dude, we're about to see the craziest thing ever, then I'll probably be disappointed. So I'm going in Sunday assuming this event's gonna be lame. They're not gonna really play basketball. We won't learn anything. And that way, Sunday night when y'all hear us from the undisclosed location that we'll be at, I'll be buzzing.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Also, real quick, once again, for Goat Lab Red, they're still doing their giveaway as well, because I know that we have some giveaways. They're doing some giveaways, but of course, don't forget the Nikki Glazier at the Grove Comedy Club is coming up, and they're still doing the ticket giveaway. You have to come to the Fayetteville location of Goat Lab Red, which is where we're going to be. Come in for a free entry, and you get extra entries if you eat or drink there. You can just ask the bartender for details. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. In fact, a shout out for our first chat. Super chats always get read first. To our guy Whitty says, watching from Goat Lab Red right now. Yeah. Wings and staff. Shout out to you, Whitty. Appreciate it. That's right. Inside Arkansas Live plays every day at noon right there on their big screen TVs at Goat Lab Red. So glad you're enjoying it, Whitty. I didn't get to say anything to Whitty on last Friday. I know you guys did, but He's our go-to guy. You know, when I was at the Buzz, we always had like 5 or 6 people that no matter what show was where, these people showed up. I feel like Whitty's our official guy. He's our, what do you call it? Our posse or our hype man, you know, whatever you want to call it. Whitty's a part of it. So
Entourage. We'll take
maybe
it.
we'll see Zach in Hot Springs, because now, you know, Zach used to be that guy. He would come to, you know, our shows, the Leroy.
Mhm.
Now he's in Hot Springs, so maybe we'll see him Sunday.
Yeah.
I bet we will. Yeah, it's a good call.
Shout out to Shark and Saw. Appreciate the super chat. Says Sharks updated power rankings no one asked for. Week 7, 1 Alabama, 2 Ole Miss, 3 A&M, 4 Georgia, 5 Tennessee, 6 Vandy, 7 OU, 8 LSU, 9 Florida, 10 Missouri, 11 Auburn, 12 Texas, 13 Mississippi State, 14 South Carolina, 15 Arkansas, 16 Kentucky.
This is better than last week's.
Yeah, it is.
I think you've done some good work here.
Florida,
I'm a little higher on OU, but it's nothing crazy.
I'd still put Georgia ahead of A&M personally, just because I feel like A&M's. I know A&M's really good, but the only reason being is because A&M, their best win is against Notre Dame, and it's like not. Well, it's a great win, but it's just not. They need a big signature win. Like Georgia at least beat Tennessee, you know, really great win on the road. But I just need to see if A&M, and maybe that happens this weekend. They get that big win, but I mean that's a small little complaint, if anything. Vandy's too low, in my opinion. Got to have Vandy up there.
Vandy, they've been creeping their way up the list a little bit because they started off a little bit low. Florida, I'm trying to think. I keep staring at Florida at 9, and I don't know if they should be like way lower. I know they just beat Texas, obviously.
This is an overcorrection for beating Texas, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, power ranking, that is kind of the theme here. I don't know, man. Florida kind of sucks. But no, I'll accept it. I think this is Sharkansas's best. This is his best effort so far.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with that. So appreciate it, Arkansas.
Is Missouri going to beat Alabama this week?
What's up?
Is Missouri going to beat Alabama this week?
They better not.
Possible. Because I'm not like sold on Alabama. They looked great last week, and it's another one of those things where people overcorrected after they lose to Florida State. Everybody was like, "Oh, Bama sucks. They're going to fire DeBoer."
Right.
And now they've had a couple really impressive wins, which are very impressive wins. And now it's like gone the other way.
You got to do it a third week in a row. You know, I don't know. It's
also Missouri. Their best wins like South Carolina. Like they have not really gotten they haven't looked great. I'm not. They've won games but also this is the 6th freaking home game that they've had in a row to start the year. It's so absurd. But either way, I'm not saying that they can't beat Bama, but I'm going to go with Bama because at least Bama's been more tested and all that. Missouri. Again, their best win might be Kansas or South Carolina. It just doesn't do it for
that
me.
South Carolina game when Missouri played, it was like closer than, I don't know what the final ended up being. I don't know if they won by like 8 or 9, but like they were like losing in the second half of that game. Like it was pretty back and forth. And I think South Carolina might actually suck.
Yeah.
I love how we cover the Arkansas Razorbacks and we're here shitting on people who win football games.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's like, oh, they only beat South Carolina. Oh, their best win is Notre Dame on the road.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like
dang, here we
obviously all these teams are better than Arkansas. Like there's no doubt about that. If we're comparing them to Arkansas, then all these teams are freaking tremendous.
Yeah.
Lights out.
That's why Arkansas has them at 15th because it's like no complaints, no arguments from us. Like that's about where they're at. Shout out to Jacob Miller for the super chat. Shout out to you fellas. He's also our guy from Drain Master. So shout out to you, Jacob. We appreciate you, man.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate your partnership.
He's our poop cleaner.
Yeah, he's our poop cleaner. He's our guy. That's it. If you ever have too much poop, he's the man to handle when it comes to all things with Drain Masters and Jacob Miller. So appreciate you, man. All right. So let's see. Parker says, do you all really believe Taylor and Wooden were shocked that Pittman got fired?
If they lived under a rock, maybe. But
I mean, yeah, maybe like even a little bit surprised you can make an argument, but yeah, you couldn't be like stunned. I mean, the team outright, like that's the type of performance you put out if like you are kind of hoping your coach gets fired, and maybe they really did think, hey, we're quitting and they'll fire T-Will, and so maybe that's where their shot came in. But yeah, that seems a little like, I mean, and of course, what are they going to say? Yeah, we knew he was getting fired.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, they're not gonna come out and just be like, "Nah, I wasn't shocked. Did you see that game against Notre Dame? Like, geez, they should have fired him earlier." Like, no, they're not gonna say that. So I get it. Let's see. Samuel says, John, you or Andrew should shave your head if Arkansas beats Tennessee by the exact score of 19-14. You don't even have to say Andrew. I'll do it. If Arkansas beats Tennessee 19-14 this Saturday, I will shave my head 1,000%.
Cool.
So there it is. And also if that happens, something bad happened in this game offensively for both teams.
I'm already in a head shaving bet, which is if Arkansas goes 7-0, I will shave my head until that bet officially doesn't hit, which, could be Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing to any more. Like I'm already in the process. I have one pending. There's not going to be 9 different stipulations. Like I'm not looking for a reason to shave my head. We do it. If it hits, then I'll shave my head. If it doesn't, we move on. But we can't just keep throwing things every single day on the show.
Yeah. It's like you get one head shaving bet at per time until that has run its course. And then if it hasn't, then, you can do another one. Because when did you get bet, Ellis, about Arkansas winning the World Series? Like what point was that?
It was right after they lost the first game, I think. I was like, if they come back and make their way to the championship series, I will shave my head. And so that lasted for about 4 days.
Oh, man. That's what's more likely? Arkansas goes 7-0 the rest of the way, or Arkansas beats Tennessee 19-14?
I mean, I don't know. They beat Tennessee 19-14 once already. I know.
It would just be that. I think
it's. To be fair, if they beat Tennessee, no, I still think Tennessee 19-14 is more likely, even though there's no way that happens.
Right. Yeah, that's my thing. Is it's like it'd be one day both these offenses sucked and the defense were.
Chats. There's gonna be 7 chats that come in right now that are like, guys, you really think Arkansas's defense 14 points? You really think?
Yep. We said you heard it here first. That's what we said.
We were having that conversation earlier about like what would need to happen for the over under to hit, and I was like, oh yeah, you'll need some red zone stops, you'll need some long drives. It's like 6 chats that are like, we're not going to get a stop in the red zone, not happening. I'm like, okay, sorry guys.
Case, speaking of cases, Ellis should shave his head if he comes home one day and someone has fully painted the interior of his house and left a cooked meat trio Red Baron in his oven, sliced and ready to eat. What?
Listen, is there a story behind this?
I hope so.
I don't know, but I'm gonna change my rule. I will shave my head if this happens.
What in the world?
That was insane.
Like that is way too oddly specific.
Oh man,
good grief, man!
That's a good one right there. Yeah. I was fully prepared for this to have like an inside story or something, between you and him. But that's okay.
I don't think I know that. I mean, like, listen, I like Red Baron pizza. Maybe I've said something about Red Baron before, but I don't think this is a reference to anything that I've done
That's
before.
Pretty good, man.
Yeah. Just be careful out there, Andrew. That's all I'm going to say. Just be careful. Heartbroken Hog says, I can see this kind of being like when we fired Dan Enos and played one of our best games of the year on the road. Then the next game, then we come back home and have a big letdown, which, I mean, yeah.
Not a crazy thought.
But that was Billy Napier, right? That lost that game?
Yep.
I know he just beat Texas, but good Lord, dude. Billy Napier's tenure has been a disaster. Yeah. How did you lose to Kenny Guyton in game 1 of the OC experiment?
Yeah. And not only that, but it was literally Arkansas's only SEC win that year was that. And they had never won in the swamp, ever won in the swamp. That was just a weird year all around, man. Weird year all around. Let's see. Omri says, is it just me or are we all wondering what T. Will's focus was on? Did they just get lucky enough last year to be blind and blind T. Will? Seems like such a vast difference in between one.
Man, T. Will had a good handful of games here and there where he really schemed it up. He did. I mean, there's a reason. There was some legitimacy to the thought after that Tennessee game last year when people were like, damn, we got to double this dude's salary or make him head coach in waiting or whatever, because we're going to lose him. Because he was on that trajectory. It has fallen off a cliff since then. But, I do think for every one of those Tennessee type games that he had an Ole Miss. It's just the weirdest thing. So some up and downs. And I don't know if he's just really, really good scheming against particular things or particular styles. I don't know what that is, but he had his quirks as well in the other direction.
Yeah, if you can run the ball and throw the ball, which I know sounds simple, but it's like if you can really keep T. Will guessing, he will not find the answer. But if T. Will has a decent idea of what you're doing, and he's like, hey, this team really likes to run this right here, he can usually come up with a scheme of like, hey, we could stop that right there. When I think about his tenure overall, it's weird because you're right. Like a year ago today, people were viewed him in such high regard. And I'm not even saying they shouldn't have necessarily. The thing that always bugged me is that the talent level was always below average. Like he was never a good recruiter The linebacker position, they were okay, but like they always just had below average SEC talent. But he had these games, like you said, where it felt like he was getting that talent to play above their expectations. And then you'd have an Ole Miss game where it's like, okay, no, they actually do still suck. But then this year, it just seemed like it was that same below average talent, and he just lost the locker room. It seemed like they just completely lost that connection there. And football's the kind of sport where, these coaches, if you're a coach at the high level, you spend Sunday through Saturday, every waking moment, you're watching as much film as possible. You're talking to as many players as possible. You're doing as much things. You have to cross all your T's, dot all your I's. So if it's a job that you even half-ass for even a second, for even one day, if you half-ass your job, you will lose complete control. And that's kind of what I think happened. And I think once you get a coach who feels sorry for himself and a bunch of players who feel sorry for themselves, you're going to have a team that quits. And that's pretty much what happened here.
Yeah. And also, too, it's like, not to pile on, but it's like, man, every year, like it seemed like the entire linebacker room who he coached would leave, and that was just like, that had to be at least a little bit of a red flag.
And then they would overcome it sometimes. So you'd kind of be like, okay, like you feel like you're like, oh man, he made it work. He did this. And then, yeah, you're right. It was like the same thing every year. And then eventually it just, the straw broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Austin from work says, what was the worst waste of talent, Taylor on this team or Tyler Wilson after the motorcycle wreck? That's not even a question, my man. Like it was Tyler Wilson on that 2012 team, because that 2012 team had enough talent to be a top 10, top 15 team. Like, I don't think Arkansas talent wise has that to be that this year.
I think I politely disagree with the notion that the 2012 Razorbacks had the talent to be really good. I think Kobe Hamilton was awesome, but like their receiving core, like Javonde Herndon was wide receiver 2. Julian Horton was wide receiver 3. I don't remember who. I guess Greg was still there at tight end. But like Ross Rasner starting at linebacker, dog.
Well,
you had
stunk. Yeah, you had Mikael McKay, who was one of the wide receivers there, but you also you had to kick off Marquell Wade off the team and Madrigas Humphreys, who were guys that could have played. But yeah, you had Chris Gregg, Nile Davis, you had Dennis Johnson, you had Jonathan Williams as a true freshman. You also had you mentioned Chris Gregg, but you also had Jeremy Sprinkle as a true freshman too. You had Chris Smith, Trey Flowers, Darius Philon. Just a few.
But a lot of those, like half those guys you listed didn't play. Like Darius Philon was a true freshman that didn't play. Jeremy Sprinkle was a true freshman that didn't play. Jonathan Williams was a true freshman. Like those are guys that were on the roster. But like I think if Tyler Wilson, all things went well, Petrino doesn't get fired, you run it back with Tyler Wilson, I think that team probably goes 7-5. If I'm being honest with you.
Listen, we'll never know. But there was just an element because the only teams that really just. Well, I should say, like Johnny Manziel and A&M would have beaten anybody that year, no matter what. Like they beat the brakes off of Arkansas in Arlington, or not in Arlington, in College Station. And then Alabama was a butt beaten too. But then you had that weird game at the end against LSU when they were playing for nothing and they lost by a touchdown. It was so strange. Yeah. So either way, no revisionist history there. A few more chats here because I know we'll get to our heavy hitters here in a second on the show. But also. Like this from David just made me laugh. It says, Andrew, I've never been in Curtis's house. Also, Andrew, at 1 a.m., I am outside your window.
I wasn't outside his window. I was just across the street. But he won't let me in, so I just have to scream outside. That's the extent.
He's always watching.
That's right. Phil also says, is the realistic virtual Pittman still coaching tomorrow night? He only has one loss.
I don't know how to get him out of there, honestly. But he hadn't been fired on the video game.
We may have to change the playbook up a little bit just to make it different, like change it to the pistol formation or something, or maybe
defense. We don't know what they're running defensively. We might have to change it to like a 2-5-4.
Yeah, I'd say we do that. Like tomorrow, let's just change the playbooks completely for both sides and make it fun. So yeah, which by the way, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's our EA Sports College Football 26 live stream and the simulation, which Arkansas is just one loss and they lost to Notre Dame. Was it close in that game? I can't remember, honestly, if the stream and all that was close in that simulation or not. But it's closer than what it was in real life. I can promise you that. But either way, every game's been close. Even the ones Arkansas's won, it's been stupid. But that's what makes it so much fun to watch. So, also finally, Dylan just says, for Halloween, I will dress as the Arkansas defense because there's nothing scarier than that.
Dang.
Good to know.
Dang.
Yeah. I don't know what you're going to dress as, though. I guess just wear a Razorback shirt. Like, how do you dress as a defense? Yeah. You'll probably figure it out, Dylan. You seem to be a creative type. Either way, let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. Because we know storms can always hit, folks. They can always hit when you least expect them. But you got to make sure that your roof is good to go. and can handle any of those storms. And we're talking about when the wintertime gets here. You're not going to have some rain, but you're going to have snow. You could have ice, have all those things, and you do not want to have a leaky roof or a roof that is not able to handle it. So have the professionals over there at HD Roofing help you out with their top quality materials and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. Give them a call today with that free inspection at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. No matter what it is, when it comes to all of your roofing needs, hit up HD Roofing and Construction here in Arkansas. All right, fellas, for our heavy hitters, I'm just going to make a very low-hanging fruit one here. But my heavy hitter is just football in general, because now for the next 49 days, every day, there will be a college football or NFL game for 49 straight days. That's good stuff.
Is Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, is that our first MACtion?
I'd have to double check, but I believe that's the case. Yes.
Who plays on Wednesdays?
MACtion probably.
There's a game. Somebody's playing tonight. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, there's
awesome, man.
It is crazy that there's just like one random Wednesday game. Yeah, today Missouri State and Middle Tennessee are playing. Liberty and UTEP.
Yeah.
And then next Wednesday you got UTEP and Sam Houston. UTEP's just playing Wednesdays for the rest of the year, I guess.
Big for the brand. I like it.
Yeah. But then you also have, like, how crazy is that on next Friday? You have Louisville and Miami on Friday night. Like, which could be a really good game. What are y'all's thoughts on playing a college football game Friday night? Like, I think it'd be kind of cool.
I think it's cool. I'll tell you what, last Friday, I stayed up all night watching those 3 games that were all bangers, right? Because it was Virginia? They beat who the hell? They beat Florida State, and then it was TCU, Arizona State, I think, and then it was like Houston and Oregon State was a late game, and it was a banger. There was a trifecta of games Friday night that set the tone for the weekend. Like, it was awesome.
Real quick to that, on next Tuesday, there is no MACtion. It's 3 games where you have New Mexico State and Liberty, Arkansas State, and South Alabama.
Yes.
And then Florida International and Western Kentucky at the Hilltoppers. All on Tuesday night, man.
What the hell is that? I mean, I'm cool with this. Sure. We were talking about Friday night games. I'm with you that, like, I think they're cool. I don't know why everybody in the chat saying they hate it. I remember when I was at Louisiana Tech, it was actually a Thursday night, now that I think about it. But, like, those midweek or, like, non-Saturday games are always fun for the students. And so I think that would be cool. You can get a good atmosphere. 2 Friday night games that I remember in the history of my life. RG3's Heisman campaign kicked off because I think they beat, who would it have been?
I think wasn't it like TCU?
Yeah, it was somebody. It was somebody good that, like, Baylor upset, and RG3 had like 6 touchdowns, and it was like, oh, hey, RG3, another Friday night game. LeGarrette Blount, y'all remember that one?
Yes.
He punched that boy after was it Boise State that beat him? It was like Boise State, Oregon on a Friday night, and just punched that dude in the face. Legendary stuff.
Yeah, try to fight the rest of the crowd too during all of that. But no, here's my thing real quick about Friday nights. I'm not saying it has to be every game, but if there was a Friday night game, how awesome would it be to have the Friday night game for Arkansas? And guess what, folks? All Saturday long, you just get to watch other college football games.
I mean, students don't have to go to class for like 2 days leading up to it. Like, you can easily. It's always cool in life when you have something that's like, hey, we're doing something that we don't normally do.
Yeah, exactly. Just like switching it up a little bit. It's no problem there. But either way, that's one of my heavy hitters for today.
Gotcha. Mine, did you guys see that they updated the top 10 or all like the highest paid coaches over at USA Today? They release that every year. I love it. So, like, I mean, the heaviest of hitters is Kirby Smart, $13.2 million a year. That's some serious catch. But, you think about some of these other salaries on here and, how folks might have felt at the time of the extensions or the contracts or whatever versus how they might feel now. Like Dabo Swinney, $11.4 million. That's crazy work. Brian Kelly, 10.17. Bill Belichick is making $10.1 million a year to do what he's doing to North Carolina's football program. He's my heavy hitter, actually. Bill Belichick getting paid $10 million for that mess at North Carolina.
Yeah, Curtis, I saw that too, and I changed my stance. We talked yesterday. We were like, how long is Bill Belichick really going to do this?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, I also saw too that he's the lowest. He has of the top 10 coaching salaries, He also has the lowest buyout by far. You know what his buyout is? $20.8 million. That's the lowest of the top 10 coaches for their buyouts. $20.8 million.
Grief, man.
Yeah, that's brutal. So
shout out to Drink for nearly cracking the top 10 there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was it him, Eli, or Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkwitz, Josh Heupel, Mark Stoops, all pretty much at $9 million. So
yeah.
That's
my heavy hitter is a former Razorback great, member of the 1964 national championship team. I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy, Jerry Jones. Got fined $250,000. Speaking of rich people, Jerry Jones is very, very slightly less rich. $250,000 for doing this at the game the other day. I'll restart it here so we can see. Pay close attention to that right hand. And by the way, Jerry has released a statement and said that he meant to do the thumbs up, and he was like, "No, I was actually cheering with that guy. That was my boy. We were having a good time." Fine, $250,000. I don't know how he's going to sleep at night.
$250,000 for giving somebody the bird seems harsh. I know it's a drop in the bucket for him, but like, dang, man.
It's like one of those things where it's like they knew they could make the number whatever they wanted it to be, and he would pay it probably. So it's like there's like $250.
Yeah. Well, it's like, first off, yeah, he said he inadvertently did it. I'm like, okay, buddy, like, sure. But then also too, do you guys remember this was years ago? Because this is not the only, like, there's owners that do this a lot from their boxes. I remember the Tennessee Titans owner. This was like 10, 15 years ago. It's up in his box and people were yelling at him. He was hammered and he just had his middle fingers and was conducting like music to him, like doing this to all, like just dancing around doing that. Just, I was like, that's great, man. That's so funny. It's like, hey, owners, when you get that much money, you can do whatever you want. And that includes just flipping off random people. But yeah, $250,000 for that. Come on.
Also, do y'all, by the way, what's y'all's opinion of the Cowboys? Like, are y'all like pro Dallas Cowboys? Do y'all like cheer against them? Do you hate them? Like, how do you feel about the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm very much indifferent.
Yeah.
Same. I kind of am too. And I thought I was in the minority a little bit because I feel like most people either obviously love them or hate them. I'm kind of indifferent as well. I got to be honest, dude. They might be the most fun NFL team to watch this year. Dak Prescott, who I make fun of a lot. I'm actually like, over the years, I've been pretty anti-Dak. He actually is like maybe an MVP candidate. Like, he's been really fun to watch every week, just slinging that sucker around. They're 2-2-1, which is just a hilarious record. They're not a good team, but Dak just goes out there every week and just slings it around. They're actually fun to watch. And they have the, like, they traded Micah Parsons. They have the nobody believes in us going on. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I get fed up with their fans sometimes when they have the entitlement of it all, but yeah, I don't really care one way or the other as far as the Cowboys go. It's kind of like Texas. It's like, I don't care as much, but then when they get good, their fans make me hate them. It's like, they're just that way. So I
think that's why I like Dallas this year is because their fans hate the team. Like, if you like, literally, I see people in the chat being like, "Nah, dude, Dak sucks." Like Dan Dudley's, they're all kind of low on the team because they just traded Micah Parsons, and I'm like, I don't think y'all should be low on y'all's team. I think y'all got a fun team. They're better than my team.
Yeah, same here. Everybody's better than my team though. So either way, let's go ahead and get to the chat here on the show, presented by our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. We know that with Halloween being just around the corner, a lot of you want those Halloween lights to light up the neighborhood on your home. Well, let the professionals do it. Our guy Brett, they do a fantastic job, not only for Halloween lights, but for Christmas lights. Because some of you may be like, well, Halloween lights, I'm not into the Halloween spirit, but Christmas, I really get into it. Well, that's okay, because they do Christmas lighting as well. And if you give them a text today at 479-459-1380, he'll give you that free estimate and let you know exactly what he can do with your home, where he will install it. He'll provide all of the materials. You can do any color of any pattern, and the free maintenance that they have throughout the season. They can help you out with that as well. So if a strand goes out, lights go out, they're going to help you out no matter what it is. So be sure to give our guy Brett a text today over at 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com or like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code on your screen. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right. So
boys, I would like to quickly announce the Razorback raffle is open for this week. Carry on.
Great. What's it at now? Or is it just now opened? Like
It's they just sent out the
I see.
Twitter notification. Let me see.
3,400.
3,400 already. Who is doing this?
I don't know.
Is Curtis the king of the sarcastic retweet?
Absolutely.
He retweets stuff sometimes that he's like, he just wants people to see. And it's like he's not promoting it. He just wants people to see this thing happen.
You're just as bad as him, honestly. So I'm like, you both are that way. Like you both do that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I like when I have Twitter notifications on, I'll see if like dadgummit Andrew, or just be like, something like that, because I know like people may see like, oh, Andrew's promoting the cause. I'm like, no, Andrew's being a smart aleck.
John, and to be fair, John, your retweets and your Twitter is so wholesome. And that's what's funny about it is like when I, because I get your notifications, which ever since that time I said I wasn't subscribed, I saw you get sad and I felt bad about it. I've been subscribed for a while now, but I do see your tweets and I'm like, oh man, John's being wholesome. He's retweeting good stuff. And then me and Curtis are just being jerks.
Honestly, and this is I just let everybody know that anyone has my notification turned on. Most of the time, if I retweet a story and you're kind of like, well, what's that? It's usually so I can remember to talk about it later. Like that's my way of like, because I'll go through my own timeline and be like, all right, so what did I see when I'm doing show prep or for my podcast? So if you ever see something like, why did John retweet that? It's like, it's probably because I'm talking about it.
I need to get better at liking stuff, because now that people can't see your likes, I can just like whatever I want. But I also like to like stuff just to come back to it later. And sometimes like my likes, I looked at it the other day and it's like, I'll go 2 days without liking something. And I'm like, damn, there's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to remember.
Are you guys big bookmarkers on Twitter?
Not as much anymore, but my bookmarks are some of the funniest stuff you will ever see, man. Like some of the hardest I've ever laughed will be in my bookmarks. I go through them just to like giggle sometimes.
No, my bookmarks I go through whenever I need motivation of like people that said like awful things about me or like called me out for stuff and like everything like that. I'm like, I don't forget. So yeah, mine's usually like when I open it up, it means I want to be pissed off and I'm about to hurt somebody. So
I bookmark a lot of things that are said to John too.
There was one time I tried it where like when Arkansas lost a Sunday game to Florida in baseball, everybody was tweeting at me about how bad the team was, and I bookmarked a bunch of stuff, and it all aged poorly. But then like 3 months later, I was like, what am I going to do with this? Like, it's like, is it really even worth it to be like, hey, you said they wouldn't make it to Omaha, they made it to Omaha? It's like, yeah, it's not even really worth it. And so that's why I stopped doing it.
Yeah. Let's see. So some of your chats that we get to, because we want to definitely get to them as well as we can. John earlier said food recommendations for Fort Smith heading up for Stephen Wilson Jr. Friday night.
Chili's.
I would. Okay. So as a real knower of the River Valley and Fort Smith area after living there for almost 2 years, they do have some pretty solid like local places. I was always a fan of Art's Barbecue that was down there. And if you go there, get the bacon. That is the one thing. I know it sounds crazy, but they literally have the best bacon I've ever had in my life. And so if you go there, even if you get barbecue with it, just make sure you get some slices of bacon. That's a pretty good solid spot. And also, if you want just like the cheap but solid Mexican food where it's like a party vibe, they have Joe's Mexican, which is always laugh because I'm like, that does not sound like a Mexican restaurant at all. It's called Joe's, but it is. It's really good. So, yeah, there's a few of those places. But also, I haven't lived there since 2019, so they could have a billion other places. They were the kings of the chain food or food chain restaurants or chain restaurants, food, those things. Yeah, they were
that little that brewery down there is a good time. Is it Bricktown or Brick House?
Bricktown, or I thought it was Brickyard.
Brickyard, yeah, Brick something brewery.
Yeah.
It's good. They got this one. I don't know how you feel about beers, but they've got one. It's like they put blueberries in it. You ever have that one?
Yes.
It's crazy. They put the actual blueberries in the beer. And right away I was like, I don't know about this, but it's pretty good, man. I like that place.
Yeah. Or if you talk to our guy, Ty Richardson, man, he loves that Papa's Pizza.
Oh, gosh.
And that dude lives there. So
I was going to say, I almost, whenever he brought up Fort Smith eating, like the first thing I thought about was Ty Richardson. I was like, go look at his Twitter and you'll find something.
Yeah, he loves him some Papas. Let's see. Finch just says, thank you, Curtis and Ellis, for some basketball and baseball in yesterday's live. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And Finch just really hates football.
Hates football, man.
Yeah.
We do appreciate the love for basketball and baseball. I'm never going to dissuade that.
Yeah.
I guess Bricktown burned down. Is that what I'm seeing here? Okay, don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there.
That's
jeez, man. We can't have anything nice these days. Let's see. K Hump says Curtis Abdu Toure looks legit. Freak athlete and has some great looking shot. Reminds me a lot of Malik Monk. Or am I overhyping?
I don't know if I would go Malik Monk on the comp there, but you're not overhyping him for being legit. I mean, he is a freakish athlete, highlight dunker. He reminds me a lot. You'll see certain things that he does that will remind you a lot of Billy Richmond, with like he's kind of that wiry athlete, explosive, getting off the floor. And there's also a lot that will remind you of Carter Knox. And I keep going back to when John Calipari said that Carter's like a car crash. Like he just gets downhill and there's a collision and then he just finishes in traffic. Abdu Toure is a master of that. That's like his game. So he's a really fun, exciting player to watch. And yeah, I don't think you're overhyping him. Not Malik Monk though. I don't think.
Also, Phil wants to know what's the spread for the scrimmage in Hot Springs. We'll get with Bet Saracen on it.
Okay. Oh, Andrew. What we were going to do last week, we're going to do this week because they're actually scrimmaging.
Dude, I freaking deleted my my big board. I'm going to have to redo my big board.
Okay.
I literally was thinking about it yesterday. And I'm just like, I don't create new tabs. I just delete whatever I had written before.
Yeah.
I have to get my big board back up and running. But now I'm down to do that. We'll draft some teams and we can create a spread based on that.
I love it.
Shane says, Curtis, is Cal still going after Baba? We already know we have 2 wings and are hard on those 3 guards right now.
Yeah, Baba Olatunji. It's really interesting. Shameless plug. Go listen to today's episode of the Pod at the Palace because we talked a lot about recruiting. And if you take the words from some of these recruits, you would think that John Calipari is kind of going back to his old ways of, dude, I'm trying to get like a super stacked freshman class and just rely on the youngsters, which you can feel however you want about that. But yeah, there's a lot of conversation right now about, like the 3 top ranked guards in the country. Cal's trying to do like a, the big 3 type of thing with them and bring them all in. But yes, he is still very much recruiting Baba heavily. Like they're prioritizing him, and he is a wing, but he's also like a 6'10" wing. And so my thought process, I get it. Like you've got JJ Andrews, you got Abdu Toure. If you bring in Caleb Holt or one of these other guys, you're like, good grief, man. It's a lot of redundancy there. What if they bring Billy back and Sealy's back? Are you just going to have a team full of wings? Yes. Yes, you will. And Baba, with his positional versatility and stuff, that's a guy that you bring in and you can play him at like 4 different positions and be fine. So yes, they're still very much recruiting him. He's visiting in a couple weeks. And, if I had to handicap it right now, I'd say Arkansas is probably in the top 3 with the best odds to get him. So yeah, good player, fun player.
I think I'm gonna when Baba commits to Arkansas, I think I'm going to Photoshop him in Boba Fett gear.
Should Baba.
I mean, that's a Star Wars name. I mean, there's Babus, there's Bobas, like that is Baba is a Star Wars name.
Yeah, hopefully he's a Star Wars fan at least. That would make it better.
Sure he is.
Yeah. Chandler says nothing better than spending my birthday with the boys. Big double deuce today. Yeah. Happy birthday, Chandler.
Hey, Chandler, if that double deuce clogs your toilet, then call Drain Masters of Arkansas and they'll take care of it for you.
They'll make it happen for you, man.
Happy birthday.
Love that.
And if you're in the area, come celebrate the double deuce over at Goat Lab on Saturday with us. Hang out with us too. I still can't remember the reference of why I'm his picture and what I'm doing in the picture, but I think I remember what it was.
I remember.
Yeah, I think I remember what it was too now. So, and finally, David said this, and I was thought about bringing it up, but at the same time, it's like, now kids can bet on the games according to the NCAA. I'm sure this will be fine and never taken advantage of. Yeah, according to the ruling, it's the NCAA D1 Administrative Committee adopted a proposal to allow student athletes and athletic department staff to bet on professional sports, a shift in a long-held policy that become difficult to enforce with the spread of legal sports betting in the United States. So
I've always felt it's difficult to enforce unless you're obviously, if you put $50,000 on something, because I mean, like I've been illegally betting for as long as I can remember. Like when I was 18 years old, that was back before a lot of these things were happening. I was betting on all kinds of stuff, betting $5, $10, $20. And I've always been like, there's just no way anyone's going to catch me doing this. Y'all remember that time? I think it was Keyshawn Butte at LSU had apparently bet on all of his own props. And then LSU wins the game and he's pissed off. This is going to be funny. I can't wait for the first kid to get in trouble for being like, oh, wait, I thought I could bet on my own games. It's just bro.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to enforce it, but it makes sense, and I'm fine with it. But
Yeah, it's whatever.
yeah, it's like it's hard to enforce or anything like that. All right, well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
Same old, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Continue to tune in to all the other stuff we got going on, and yeah, just for those who were asking about where we're going to be after the tip-off tour in Hot Springs on Sunday, we'll have some stuff out there. So check out the socials. Make sure you tune in to Pod the Palace in the morning. We'll have more info for you if you want to come hang out with us.
Just a friendly reminder that this is a 3-sport weekend and maybe even more. I'm sure there's other athletic teams playing this weekend, but reminder that we got football, basketball, and baseball tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll get to hear from Dave Van Horn ahead of Arkansas's 2 exhibition games. Looking forward to those. We're going to continue to have some coverage of that. Also want to shout out Cameron for just a tremendous episode of Bombastic Podcast. I'm at the point, guys. I'm getting to the point where I think Bombastic is no longer a solo pod. I don't know if every single episode Cameron is going to be on, but like between Cameron, Daniel Shee, Hutch, random people that we have on, I feel like Bombastic is just no longer a solo show. And I really enjoyed doing it with Cameron yesterday. We had some good talk, so check that out if you missed it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much same for me too. Is just appreciate everybody tuning in, listening in, watching in. Be sure to subscribe to everything that we have going on here at Inside Arkansas right here on our YouTube page. You can also check out all of our social media at Inside Arkansas, but also the audio podcast, wherever audio podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, the Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, Inside Arkansas Football Podcast. We got it all going on right here at Inside Arkansas. And don't forget to come hang out with us at Goat Lab Red on Saturday for the Arkansas-Tennessee game at 1214 North Garland Avenue. That'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, and intern Cameron, I am John